ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste my dear friends. This is video number 4 on Ishavasya Upanishad. This video starts with Sankara's rendering stanza number 13. They say the result of the worship of Hiranyagarbha is different, as by it one attains the psychic powers called anima, and they say the result of worshipping the unmanifest is different, since by it one gets prakrti laya or mukti in the shape of absorption in nature. Thus have we heard from the wise ones who have explained both to us. Ananta's rendering, stanza number 13. Different, they say, is the fruit of worshipping Sambhuti, and different is the fruit of worshipping Asambhuti. This we have heard from the wise who have explained both to us. Sankara's commentary, stanza number 13. The Shruti now mentions the different or partial results of the worship of each separately, thus showing the reason for worshipping them both conjointly. They say, Ahu, the fruit is verily different of worshipping the Brahma in its effects. That is, they have explained that the fruit of such devotion is the attainment of psychic powers called anima. So also they say the result is different if one worships the unmanifest, for the authors of the Puranas say that by such worship one enters the state of prakrti laya or absorption into nature, the state of blind darkness mentioned in the text. Thus we have heard from the sages the different fruits of the worship of Avaktrita and Vaktrita from those who have explained it to us. Ananta's commentary, stanza number 13. Now the Shrutis explain the different fruits of each, which is the reason why the worship of both should be combined. Anyad, the wise say that the fruits of worshipping Sambhuti or Brahma in nature is different. That is, one gets thereby the psychic powers like anima, laghima. Similarly, the fruits of worshipping Asambhuti is said to be different. That is, the worship of the unmanifest leads to blind darkness. For thus saith Lord Krishna, those whose heart is engrossed in the avyakta, the unmanifest, suffer many pains. Iti. Thus have we heard of the wise who have explained to us the difference in the results of the worship of Sambhuti and Asambhuti. Stanza number 14. Sankara's rendering. Who knows that he should combine in himself the worship of both the unmanifest, which is indestructible, and the manifest, whose effects are destructible. Such a one, through the worship of Hiranyagarbha, overcomes death, that is, all weakness and want of power, by acquiring siddhis. And through the worship of the unmanifest, enjoys the partial immortality of being assimilated to nature. Ananta's rendering, stanza number 14. The yogi who knows the Supreme God, the creator of all, as well as the destructible physical nature, who knows collectively both this perishable body and the imperishable soul in it, who knows the real and the unreal. He, through his perishable body, by performing with it good acts, purifies his heart, and by the knowledge of God becomes immortal and gets liberation. Shankara's commentary, stanza number 14. Because this is so, therefore it is reasonable that the worship of Vekarta, Vekarta and Avekarta should be combined in one person, as then only does it lead to the proper end of man. Therefore, says the text, he who knows both together the created nature and destruction, by that whose products have the attribute of being subject to destruction, here by a figure of rhetoric, the attribute stands for the thing possessing the attribute. By the worship of such destruction having crossed over death, which imbecility and vice produced from sins of lust and the like, he obtains the fruit of possessing psychic power like animal by worshipping Hiranyagarbha, thus having transcended death in the shape of want of power. He, by worshipping the Asambhuti or the unmanifest, enjoys immortality by being dissolved into nature, Prakriti Laya. In the text, Sambhutim cha vinasam, the negative particle as should be supplied, that is, the text should read thus: Asambhutim cha asvinam, because the fruit Asambhuta mirtamasnute, he attains immortality through Asambhuti. It shows that Vinasa refers to Sambhuti. Ananta's commentary, stanza 14. Having shown all this, the Shruti now draws the following conclusion from all that has been taught above. Sambhuti, the Supreme Spirit, the Brahma, who is the one sole cause of the production Sambhava of the whole universe. Vinasa, that whose quality is to be destroyed, that which is liable to destruction. It is formed by adding the affix ACH to the word Vinasa, the resultant form being however the same. See Panini. That is, it means the body that is liable to destruction, so also the world. The yogi who knows Veda both together, Saha, that is, having made them both one, namely the soul that dwells in the body and the body, who discriminates between the real and the non-real, who knows I am separate from the body. The conjunction with body is for the sake of suffering the fruits of works, and who by so knowing with his body, Vinasena, acquires good motiveless deeds, Niskama, which gives rise to spiritual knowledge and ultimately consigns all those deeds to God. Such a wise one by the destructible Vinasena fragile body, through the performance of pure and good works, having crossed death, that is, having purified the inner organ by removing its impurities, enjoys immortality through Sambhuti or through the knowledge of Atma. He obtains liberation. or this verse may have this meaning. This verse teaches the concurrent worship of both Sambhuti and Ansambhuti because both go towards the attainment of the particular purpose in view. In this verse, the negative particle a has been elided by Panini. Before the two words vinasa and vinasena, that is, those words are really avinasa and avinasena. This elision must be inferred as the context requires that vinasa should mean asambhuti and therefore should mean avinasa because asambhuti is not destructible. He who conjointly worships or knows both the Sambhuti and the Avinasa, the manifest and the unmanifest, that yogi by means of the worship of the indestructible, the unmanifest having crossed or overcome death, that is want of power arising from the guilt of irreligion and lust, enjoys or obtains through the worship of Sambhuti or Hirane Garbha the immortality of the Prakriti Laya. Or Sambhuti may mean Hirane Garbha and other gods because they are existent Sambhavati. By the worship of Sambhuti, namely Hiranyagarbha and other deities having crossed death, that is, having removed the impurity of the inner organ, he enjoys immortality or liberation, mukti, through the worship of the indestructible, the Paramatma, the Supreme Spirit who is free from the fault of birth and decay, vinasa, that is, by obtaining the knowledge of the Supreme Spirit, one becomes liberated. In this explanation, the order of the words in the text has been reversed, and the text is read Sambhutaya Mirtuyam Tirtva Avinasena Amritam Asnute. Shankar's rendering, stanza number 15. Thou nourisher, open to me a worshipper of truth, the doer of truth concealed by the golden disk of the luminous photosphere, so that I may see the Satya Purusa dwelling in the ocean. Ananta's rendering, stanza 15. Having thus fitted himself by theory and practice, the yogi prays for the vision of God, the face of God, the best of beings, the imperishable, residing in the orb of the sun, is covered by the luminous sphere that ensurrounds the sun. O God, O nourisher of thy devotees, remove that veil of light so that I, the worshipper of truth, may see thee. Sankara's commentary, stanza number 15. The highest result attainable through human objects and celestial knowledge, according to the scriptures, culminates in absorption into nature, Prakriti Laya. So far extends the circuit of worldly life, that is the sphere of karmic forces causing transmigration. Beyond that is the sphere of the renunciation of all desires and devotion to pure knowledge, which teaches that all that exists is self only, as taught in a former verse. Thus, two sorts of Vedic teachings have been described here, with the doctrine of work, pravrti, and the doctrine of renunciation, nivritti. This twofold doctrine is taught in other Upanishads also. Thus, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that portion of the Brahmana which ends with the Parvargya Sacrifice is adopted to explain all the rules of positive duty and negative virtues relating to the Vedic doctrine of activity. The other portion of the Brihadaranyaka is meant to teach the Vedic doctrine of cessation of works. In the text, he who knows both knowledge and ignorance together, verse 11, is taught the knowledge of inferior Brahma appertaining to works, beginning with the ceremonies to be performed at the time of birth and ending with the rites at the funeral pyre, performing which one should desire to live 400 years. In the above verse, it is also said that he enjoys the ambrosia of immortality through knowledge by crossing over death through non-knowledge. Now, in the present verse is explained the path through which immortality is to be enjoyed. Thus, the Brihadaranyaka says that which is true, that is Aditya, the Purusha, which is in that luminous orb, and Purusha, which is in the right eye, both are truth, Satya. A worshipper of Brahma who has duly performed all the various works when the time of death approaches prays thus to the soul of truth in order to obtain an entrance for himself into that luminous sphere. Hiranyamaya, like as if it was golden and full of light, concealed or covered by such a golden screen, that is, covered by the photosphere of light, hides the face of truth, that is, the face or entrance to Brahma, residing in the solar orb, is enveloped apihitam or closed by this golden screen or photosphere. Tattvam, O Pushan, remove or open Apurnu, thou that screeneth for me. Satya Dharma, Satya Dharmaya, who am a worshipper of truth by worshipping thee. O truth, for truth is my religion, so that I may see thee. That is, approach thy soul of truth. The word Satya Dharma may mean also the establisher of the religion of truth. In that case, the verse should be translated, O Purusha, open thou that door, so that I may see the establisher of the religion of truth. Ananta's commentary. Having in the preceding verse taught to the adhikari disciple the nature of the Supreme Spirit, in the remaining portion of the book is taught the means of liberation, moksha, which consists in the direct perception of Brahma. The direct perception of God vision does not take place merely by reading or hearing. Moreover, by mere God vision there is no moksha, it is a means only. The moksha is obtained only through the grace of the Lord. For, says the Shruti, the Atma cannot be gained by knowledge, nor by understanding, nor by manifold works and science. Whom he elects by him is he gained. For him this Atma reveals its own truth. Therefore, a person who has studied the science of spirit and cogitated over it should pray to the spirit for his realization or vision, and similarly a person who has obtained the vision of spirit and has seen him face to face should pray to him for obtaining moksha or liberation. The remaining verses, Hirnaya, show the mode in which the Lord should be addressed in prayers. In this Simon, worship in the form of Aditya is taught. Hirane Yena Patrena. The meter is Anushtup. That which is like gold is called Hiranamaya. That is full of light. Patram, vessel from the root pa, to drink, that in which something put in drunk, that in which the rays abide is also called patra, that is the solar disk or orb. By that luminous orb or photosphere is covered apihitam, the face, that is the whole body of the truth of the glorious God, the highest person, the indestructible, the dweller of the solar orb, the form being assumed as a kind of veil, the face which is so veiled by the curtain of light, O Pushan, who feeds Pushnati, or feeder and nourisher of thy devotees. O Supreme Spirit, do thou unclose, do thou unveil. Why? Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye, he who holds dharayati or ponders in his heart over the form consisting of truth. Satya, knowledge and bliss is called Satya Dharman. For the sake of such a person will be Satya Dharmaya in the dative case as Satya Dharmasya. The meaning is open thy face for the vision, drishtaye darshanya, of thy devotees like myself who cherish truth in their hearts, that is become visible or manifest. The word drishtaye is dative singular of drishti, which is formed from the root drishir, to see, by the addition of the affix kiti, forming the abstract noun. The she is changed into sa by the ta is changed into te by Panini. This is the Rishi's prayer. Shankar's rendering, stanza number 16. O nourisher, O the soul mover, O thou controller, O thou appropriator of all lives and rays, O thou child of Prajapati, disperse thy rays and lessen thy heat and light, so that I may see thy most propitious form. I do not beg this as a servant, but as an equal for the Purusha that is there in thee, that I am. Ananta's rendering. Stanza 16. O nourisher, O thou soul knowledge, O thou ruler, O known to the wise, O beloved of the Lord of creatures, illumine my rays and expand my knowledge, so that I may see through thy grace thy most auspicious form, the Purusha that is in the orb of the sun and in other forms, verily that I am. Shankara's commentary. The Pushan, the sun, is so called because it supports Pushyati, the universe. Ikarshe, O one Rishi, the only one that moves, Rishti or goes. O Yama, O controller, so called because he controls Sanyasanat, all the various worlds. O Suryaha, O attractor, he is called because he withdraws or attracts to himself Savikarna, all the rays, all the vital forces and fluids. O Prajapatiya, O son of Prajapati, withdraw Vyah, that is withhold all thy rays, Rasmin, and diminish Samoha, that is collect together all thy splendor, Tejas, that is thy heat and light, so that I may see thy gracious and most auspicious form, thy most beautiful form. Verily, I do not ask this favor from thee as a beggar or a servant, but of right, because that Purusha which is in thee is the same as I, that being dwelling in the orb of the sun, whose limbs consist of the several Vyahartis, is called Purusha because it has the form of a man, or it is so called because by it in the shape of vital forces the intellect and self has filled Purana, the whole universe, or it is so called because it dwells in the body. Puri Sayanat Soham Asmi. I am verily that, I become verily that. Ananta's commentary, stanza number 16. The same thing the Rishi asks in more explicit terms. Pushan, the meter is Usuik. O Purusha, O Pushan, O Nourisher, O Ekarsi. This word is a compound of Eka and Rishi. He who is the one soul Rishi. Rishi comes from Rish, to know. O thou the principal intelligence, O Yama, he who regulates. Yamayati is called Yama, as says the Shruti. He who controls Yamayati from within is Brahma. O controller, O Surya, he who is knowable by the sages, Surya is called Surya. It is found by adding the Yudhita affix yat to the word Suri, the final E of which is elided by Panini. O thou known only by the wise, O Prajapatya, the Lord, Pati of creatures. Parja is called Prajapati. His other name is Hiranyagarbha, the first emanation of Brahma. Brahma is said to be beloved by Prajapati because Brahma first introduced him in the Vedas, as says Savitasva Shruti. He who first created the Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, and taught him all the Vedas. O thou beloved of Prajapati, Yuha Rasmin Samuha Tejaha, illumining my rays, Rasmin expand, Yuha all thy brilliancy, that is to say, expand thy external appearance and my knowledge, so that I may see Pasyam through thy grace, that tat most auspicious form of thine Yat te rupam kalyan taman, the most propitious form. The Smriti says he is the auspiciousness among all auspiciousness. Or this line may mean, O nourisher, O one knower, O regulator, O known by the sages, O son of Prajapati or Dharma in the shape of Nara, Narayana, disperse Vyuha, thy rays which falling on my eyes prevent them seeing thee, and lessen Smuha, thy brilliancy Tejaha, that is adapted so that I may be able to see thee. The rest is like the above. In what way wilt thou see is taught in the next line. Yeah, that Purusha, one who dwells, Sweti, in the bodies. Purusha is Purusha, that being that dwells in the orb of the sun, that Purusha that dwells in other bodies as well, that Purusha am I, that is the being dwelling in the orb of the sun and other forms is one with the luminous being that is in my heart. The sense being that I see thy form in this way, the purport being that the means to liberation consists in the consciousness alone of such unity. The word assumption is found by combining aso and aso. By the rules of grammar, the final y ought to have been omitted, but is not by another rule, which says y and v are not elided when they are final in a pada and occur between two vowels. Sankra's rendering, stanza number 17. Let my linga sarira, consisting of 17 members, on leaving this body, go to the Sutratma. Let my sthula sarira be consumed to ashes by fire. Om, O protector, preserve me. O mind, remember what I ought to remember now. Remember what acts I have done in my studentship and family life. Ananta's rendering, stanza 17. Now of me dying, let my individual prana vayu resolve itself into the great ocean of life. Let my linga sarira, purified by knowledge and works, go out of this body. Let my gross body be reduced to ashes. Om. O my mind, remember that which ought to be remembered at this juncture. Remember the various thoughts thought by thee up to this time, and remember all the acts that were done by thee since thy childhood. Remember thy acts, O mind. Remember all that I have done since my childhood. Sankara's commentary, stanza number 17. Vayur anilam amartam. Now of me dying, let the Vayu, the vital force or prana, abandoning this individual body, Adhyatma, dissolve itself into the universal body called Adhitvaita, the natural fountain of all life, the great fluid, the great immortality, the Sutratma or the cosmic life. The word resolve itself or obtain should be supplied in order to complete the sense. This is a hint showing that the vital airs should go out being purified by knowledge and work. The Vayu of all persons does not mix in the universal reservoir. It is only those who are pure, whose linga sarira undergoes complete disintegration as soon as death ensues. This is to be inferred from the fact that the person is capable of claiming entrance into the solar region. Athedam. Now may this gross body being offered as a sacrifice to fire be resolved into ashes. Om Kratu. In prayers, Om stands as a symbol for the truth and is a name of fire, though as a fact, Brahma itself is called Om. Om Kratu. O mind, whose function is willing, remember that which ought to be remembered at this juncture. For the time has approached very near indeed. So remember all the past deeds done up to this time. O fire, remember those works which I have done from my childhood upwards. The repetition is for the sake of emphasis. Ananta's commentary, stanza number 17. Now of me dying, let the vital forces, Vayu, leaving this individual body, go to the universal body, the great life, Anila. And for this purpose the Rishi prays as follows. Vayur Anilam. Of the ineffable word Om, the stay of the yogis, the Supreme, the Brahma called the glory, having the attributes of non-grossness. The seer is Brahma, the meter is Gayatra, the Devta is the Supreme Spirit, it is the Shabda Brahma, the word God, to be uttered in commencing and ending all recitals, and should be employed in sacrifices and burnt offerings, and in Santi and Purushartha ceremonies and the like. The yogi reminds his mind by these three words Vayu, Anila, and Om of the sacrifices performed by him. This is the introduction. O thou supreme spirit of me dying, let the Vayu resolve into the universal Vayu. Here the word Vayu means the prana Vayu, the vital force, and is taken as a representative of the 17 inner organs forming the subtle body. 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, 5 vital ears, mind, and intellect. May the prana forming the linga sarira consisting the 17 members, renouncing the garb of individuality, obtain the universal form, the soul of all, the immortal, the sutra man, sutratum man, the great life, anilam, the principal life, as says the Shruti, Vayu verily exists, O Gautama, by its cords, by the cords of Vayu. O Gautama, by its cords, this world and the next world verily, all creation are supported and strongly bound together. The sense is let the linga sarira purified by knowledge and work go out of the body. Afterwards, let this gross body be thrown into the fire and let it be reduced to ashes. Chasmanta, that whose anta or end is ashes only, having fulfilled its mission, Om, is a symbol. It is here the name of Agni. The all truth is no way different from Brahma, Om. O mind Karatu, whose function is to will. Remember all that I ought to remember. The time for remembering that has arrived, therefore remember thou whatsoever hath been done by me in my studentship and family life. Having done so, remember also, remember, O mind, whatever sacred duty hath been accomplished by me since my infancy up to this time, the repetition is for the sake of respect, or to remove the doubt in which one falls when he actually sees the body being reduced to ashes and thinks that the body being destroyed, the Brahma that dwelt in it must necessarily be born and die again. The verse may be construed by the sense that though this body may appear to be reduced to ashes, yet the Supreme Spirit that dwelt in it is not touched by the fault of birth and death. How do you show this? By reversing the order of words and their sequence and cases in the verse thus. Anilam, Anilah, Amritam, Amritaha. Since Anila, the great life, and Vayu, the prana, are both immortal, so Brahma is also immortal. What question can there be as to the immortality of Brahma? Thus, its purity from birth and death is established by a fortiori reasoning. If it be doubted how immortality is possible for the worldly Vayu, since it is merely figurative, then the immortality of God is also of the same nature. To this we reply that thought the body is destroyed, yet the non-disappearance of Vayu is known by its effects. As says the Brihadaranyaka Sruti, O Gautama, by the cords of Vayu, this world and the next are all the creatures in them are sustained. If the Vayu does not work, all gods become confused. The Vayu is the only deity that never sets or ceases to work. The sage then prays to Om M. O Kratu, O intelligence, having the qualities of protecting, remember me, remember the prayers and contemplations performed by me. The repetition is for the sake of distinctness, for Yaksa has said that by repetition a particular meaning is brought out. The remembering by the Supreme Spirit is a sign of grace to the devotees. Thou art the means of that. The word Om comes from the root to protect. To the root Av is added the affix Manin by Panini. Then the final syllable of Manin is elided. The changes undergone are represented by the following equation. Sankara's rendering stanza number 18. O Agni, lead us by the good path, the Deva Yana path from which there is no return, so that we may obtain the fruits of actions. O effulgent, thou knowest all our works and thoughts. Take away and destroy our crooked sins from us. We offer thee our best salutations as we are unable to give thee anything better. Ananta's rendering stanza number 18. O Agni, guide us by the good path, the Devyana, that we may obtain the treasure of salvation. Thou knowest all our thoughts and deeds, destroy all our crooked sins. For the sake of being purified from that, we offer thee our best salutations. Sankara's commentary, stanza number 18. By this verse again, the dying soul prays for clear passage. Agne Naya, O fire, lead thou by the good path. Supatha, by the pleasant passage. The word Supatha, good path, is an adjective showing that the other path called the southern path is to be avoided. I am disgusted with the southern path wherein there is a constant circle of births and deaths. Therefore, I again entreat thee to lead me by that beautiful way which is free from transmigration. Kai, for the sake of wealth, that is for the sake of enjoying the fruits of action. Asman, O effulgent one, thou knowest, Vidwan, all Vismani, these works Viyunani, or thoughts and dispositions consisting of the above mentioned fruits of duty. Moreover, destroy Yuyudhi and purge away from us, Asmad, the crooked, Juhurnam, the evil sins, Enaha, Anak. The sense is that thereby we becoming pure may obtain the desired end, but unfortunately now we cannot serve thee fully. Choice thumb with due rights, therefore we offer vidhema or serve thee T with names only, that is by merely uttering the word salutation. For not having the physical body, we cannot even bow down to thee in salutation, but can only utter the word salutation. Ananta's commentary, stanza number 18. Having thus prayed to obtain direct vision of God, the sage prays to him as the tutelary deity of fire in order to obtain emancipation. Agni, as says Katyana Smriti, Agastya Drishtayaneya devataya antya jna yogi samartyati. O Deva, having the qualities of playfulness, O Agni, O God, manifest as the symbol fire, lead Nyaya and carry us by the good path. Supatha, the beautiful road, the way of the gods, Devyana, the good path, implies that the other path called the southern path is to be avoided. We pray to thee, therefore, O Agni, because we are disgusted with the southern path, the path of eternal births and deaths. Therefore, lead us by the happy way, free from the evils of rebirths and reincarnations, who are endowed with the fruits of works. The word Supatha is the instrumental singular of Supatha. Its regular declension ought to be Supathena because though Patha is regular third case singular of Pathin, yet Supatha is a compound and ends in a by rule. Panini. Singular ought to be Supathen, but the contrary used in the text shows that the Samsanta rule is not Samsanta rule is not invariable, the final A being optional, as it is not implied in the very first sutra of Panini, where the compound adage ends in a consonant. Why does the sage pray to be led by the good path? For the sake of getting wealth in the shape of final liberation. What is thy nature, O Agni? Thou knowest, Vidwan all Vishwani works, Vayunani and intelligence. Jahurnam, crooked. It is derived from the root harcha, to be crooked, by a reduplication of the root and affixing sanach. It means crooked, deceitful, obstructing. Anaha, since asmatas mattat, away from us. Yayuddhi, separate, remove, destroy. This is derived from the root yu, to separate, being adadi, the vikarna sap, being elided. There is reduplication, then is added he, the sign of the imperative mood. He being changed to thee in the Vedas for the sake of being purified from that te, thee. The substitute yusmad comes because it is anudhata, bhuyaji satam, best nama, uktim, words of salutations. Vidhema, we may do. The purport is that to salute thee, who art so great a help in accomplishing our dear objects of desire, is the only requital we can offer thee as taught by traditional usage. It is not a return for the services thou hast rendered to us, for these can never be adequately requited. Or this verse may mean, O brilliant Agni, lead us by the good path, which is free from transmigration and known as the path of light, so that we may obtain the wealth, Raye, that is the treasure of salvation, that is, be thou the giver of liberation. Liberation from what? From the round of transmigration. O God, for thou knowest Veda, all good works, Vayunahi, performed by us to entitle ourselves to liberation. Vayunam means works or karmas, says the Nighanta, or Vayunani may mean wisdom or acts for acquiring Brahmajnana, that is, understanding, pondering over Nana, and profound meditation upon spiritual truths. For the word Vayuma means wisdom in the following sloka of Bhagavata. Na tavad datya vayu naya. If it be asked, how can there be thy liberation since thou art bound by the karmic destiny? The text replies, Juhuram, that is, give us liberation by destroying our sins, lessening their weight, and making us free. Because the doing even of a little sin throws one into the cycle of transmigration. The word Johur is derived from the root Hawar, to walk by reduplication, as if it was a root belonging to the Huadi class and means constant walking to and fro. This is a Vedic exception. Enam sin, that is such a sin as causes constant coming and going. Joharna, that is evil deeds. Those deeds remove Yuyunadhi from us, Asmat. O God, we offer Thee our best salutations because we cannot requite Thee in any other way. A discussion Sangra with regard to the verses by avidya crossing death, one attains immortality through vidya. By destruction crossing death by asambhuti, one enjoys immortality. As this may seem open to doubt, we shall further attempt to give an explanation. We shall first state the nature of the doubt that might be raised, which is as follows. Objection. By the word Vidya is meant primarily knowledge relating to the Supreme Self. Why is it taken in a different sense here? And why does not the word Amrita means complete immortality following from such knowledge? If it is urged that as a matter of experience, these two cannot combine because the works and knowledge of the Supreme Self are opposed to one another, we say true, the opposition is not self-manifest, for both opposition or non-opposition depend upon the authority of the sacred scriptures. Just as the performance of sacrifices, avidya, and the worship of Brahma Vidya are matters of scriptural proof, so also the question of their opposition or non-opposition is a matter for authority and not inference. Thus, as it is learned from the scripture, thou shalt not kill any creature, so that very scripture makes an exception by declaring, let beast be killed in sacrifice. So, let it be in the case of Vidya and Avidya, that is, let there be a combination of Vidya, spiritual knowledge, and works karma. Reply: no, that cannot be, because another Shruti says those two, ignorance, avidya, and knowledge, vidya, are known to be far asunder and to lead to different goals. Objection: no, there is no opposition between vidya and avidya, as the Shruti couples them together in the text Vidyan cha avidyan cha. Answer: we reply no. There is threefold opposition in these, which opposition in their respective causes, essences, and results. Objection: it being impossible to hold that opposition or non-opposition between Vidya and Avidya either is optional, for that rule of interpretation does not apply here, by which two contrary percepts are held optional, such as let a man sacrifice before sunrise, let a man sacrifice after sunrise. These are interpreted to mean that the time is optional with the performer. It therefore follows that there is no opposition between Vidya and Avidya, as the rule of conjoining these shows to this we reply answer no, because there is the text of the Katha Upanishad to the contrary showing that both cannot consist. Objection: let Vidya and Avidya be in the same person in succession at different stages of his life. Answer: no, because when knowledge arises, ignorance having disappeared, there can no more be an experience of ignorance. One who knows that fire is hot and luminous is ever afterwards incapable of thinking that fire is cold or non-luminous. Similarly, in the case of one enlightened by knowledge, there can never again arise ignorance, doubt or false knowledge. For the Shruti says that grief and delusion are impossible for such a one, because when a man knows that all things are even as the soul, when he beholds the unity of the self, then there is no delusion nor grief. Thus, there being no possibility of avidya coexisting with vidya, we say that the sacrificial works also, which are concomitants of avidya, cannot exist for one who is illumined. As regards the text, he enjoys immortality, verses 11 and 14. The immortality spoken of is only relative. Moreover, it by Vidya in these verses we mean the knowledge of the Supreme Self, then the beginning of the passage to the solar region becomes a redundancy. Therefore, it follows that Vidya in these verses should be taken as synonymous with prayers and inferior knowledge, and the sense conveyed is that sacrifices should be combined with prayers and not with the knowledge of the Supreme Self, as we have already explained. So, all the 18 stanzas are covered in these videos, and Isha Upanishad is completed. I may give one or two more videos in explaining, because this is primary Upanishad and very important. So I will give one or two more videos. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar.